I think more powerful than 1,000 swords with 1,000 guns, my friend. I can reach out and wreck whole third world governments all by myself.
They see themselves as vigilantes who are fighting for the little guy and aim to bring down bullies on a global scale.
From the outside, they are a vigilante group. From the inside, it's a response. It's very visceral.
One man's vigilante is another man's freedom fighter. I mean, we can bandy about terms all day long. Myself, personally, I opt out of the semantic argument of terrorist or vigilante. You can go ahead and use those terms. Anybody can use those terms. I'm not opposed to them, but I think that these are labels, and what we do is what we do.
Greetings, police forces of the world. We are anonymous. Since the beginning of the Occupy movement, we have watched as police violence toward the otherwise peaceful protesters has steadily increased. Your brutalization of our citizens is both unjust and uncalled for. Your raids on our encampments and the illegal actions of corrupt officers within your ranks will no longer go unpunished. Any officer found to be guilty of these crimes against peaceful protesters will be doxxed and have their personal information released to the public. It is time you take a dose of your own medicine.
One of my favorite moments of internet culture, this might be a little off topic, was the way pepper spray cop went, that meme. Mm-hmm. Just like, it was like watching the internet collectively dream about police brutality.
UC Davis Campus Police Lieutenant John Pike, Records Unit Manager, you pepper sprayed a crowd of peaceful students sitting on the ground. You are a coward and a bully, a tool of the corrupt, a puppet for your masters. Citizens of the world, flood his home phone at 530-752-3989. Flood his cell phone at 530-979-0184. Flood his email at japikeii@ucdavis.edu. Flood his home with pizza deliveries and junk mail at 4005 Cowell Boulevard, apartment number 616.
Anonymous, I like to say the consequence fairy, like, alights where she wants to. Like what is going to be an incredibly important historical moment in Anonymous is something that you cannot predict in advance.
A team of hackers announces we don't like the U.S. government very much and says just for kicks, it's hacked into the Senate's website. The Senate Sergeant-at-Arms says the intrusion does not compromise the security of the Senate's network.
When they hacked the CIA's website and the Senate's website on the same day, they were both denial of service attacks, no big deal. But boy, that showed that they had some guts.
Just to be clear, the group Anonymous did not actually hack into the CIA's website. They overloaded it with thousands of hits at a time, and that's what caused the site to shut down. So your question, what is the limit here? Experts say the sky, unfortunately, because nothing is 100% secure. Who is this group Anonymous?
It is internet pranksters, it is activists, it is sometimes some downright vicious criminal behavior. It is sometimes cruel. It is sometimes beautiful.
I think that some people view them as freedom fighters. I think a lot of people view them as misguided, immature, too big for their britches children.
Hello. We are Anonymous.
The group's most recent target is the Texas Police Association. It's in response to a story we broke about a wily policeman put on administrative leave while he's investigated for child pornography.
The whole idea of a hacker, I think, is often just is misconceived in the popular culture. Hacking is not illegality. Mm-hmm. Hacking is actually really one of I consider like one of the noblest human kind of endeavors. Hacking is seeing problems and wanting to fix them, and hacktivism is seeing problems not just on the computer, but in the global political, economic, legal system, and saying, I want to fix these problems. It's a mentality and it's a culture.
Οι Anonymous και οι υποστηριχτές τους, όπως ο δικηγόρος Άμπι Χάσεν που προσφέρει εθελοντικά τις υπηρεσίες του σε ακτιβιστές, θεωρούν ότι η πολιτική δράση μέσω ίντερνετ μπορεί να χαρακτηριστεί ως χακτιβισμός. Ο χακτιβιστής χρησιμοποιεί νόμιμες ή παράνομες μεθόδους και ψηφιακά εργαλεία με σκοπό την διαδικτυακή διαμαρτυρία για πολιτικούς λόγους. Θεωρητικά η μόνη διαφορά του από τον ακτιβιστή είναι η χρήση υπολογιστή και ενός software. Η συζήτηση όμως για την πραγματική δράση των Anonymous συνεχίζεται.
I don't think you can call Anonymous a hacktivist collective. I think that's inaccurate. But you can say that that thing which is called hacktivism occurs in Anonymous.
I see a very clear analogy between the activists and the hacktivists. However, at least in the United States, the law doesn't treat them the same at all. So somebody who's part of a sit-in, a physical sit-in, may be charged with a misdemeanor, maybe a fine, generally will be let go. Somebody who's charged as being part of a denial of service attack may be charged as a serious criminal and get jail time, even though they've effectively done the same thing.
Ακτιβιστές ή χακτιβιστές. Ό,τι και αν πιστεύει κανείς για τους Anonymous, οι υπηρεσίες ασφαλείας ανά τον κόσμο τους έχουν ήδη στοχοποιήσει.
I've talked to a few people in the security industry who can confirm that all of them are very much thinking about Anonymous on a regular basis because Anonymous is becoming this new threat.
We're seeing the beginning of what will be not just a crackdown of Anonymous, but a crackdown on a way of being. We're seeing a culture war. We're at the beginning of a culture war, where this idea of hierarchy, this idea of a very controlled world, is going to run up against this idea of individual action outside of the context of, being vetted by the world. Right now, a lot of people in Anonymous are being hunted by various governments for various reasons. I think ultimately the commonality is they're being hunted for being really different from the social structures that have been how governments work.
These people are being targeted, they're being arrested, and they're facing absurd sanction. I mean, people are facing 20 years in jail for what harm, for what damage, like kids that, just are messing around on the internet. PayPal went down for a half an hour, and so 14 people need to go to jail for the majority of their life.
I'm a political exile, and I'm actually seeking political asylum from yet a third country. And so the fact that I had to do that, the fact that I felt the need to do that, means that there's great oppression in the United States of America. And wherever there's oppression, anywhere in the world, that means they're afraid. They don't oppress people they're not afraid of. They only oppress people they're afraid of. So yeah, they're afraid of us.
Οι Anonymous απασχόλησαν περισσότερο τα ελληνικά μέσα όταν τον περασμένο Φεβρουάριο επιτέθηκαν στην ιστοσελίδα του Υπουργείου Δικαιοσύνης και τη βραδιά ψήφισης του Μνημονίου στο site της Βουλής, της Ελληνικής Αστυνομίας και σε μια σειρά από άλλες ιστοσελίδες όπως πολιτικών κομμάτων, κρατικών υπηρεσιών και οργανισμών. Ο Commander X δηλώνει περήφανος για τους Έλληνες Anonymous τη στιγμή που στις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες οι αρχές ασφαλείας προσπαθούν να συνδέσουν τους hacker με ένα νέο είδος τρομοκρατίας και έχουν εξαπολύσει ανθρωποκυνηγητό για τη σύλληψή τους.
The FBI today arrested top members of the hacktivist group LulzSec. The FBI in New York filed charges against 5 people, and it was made possible by this man, 28-year-old Hector Xavier Monsegur. Monsegur pled guilty to being a former member of the hacktivist group and is now working with the FBI.
25 members of Anonymous have been arrested across Europe. Interpol arrested them. Apparently they have an insider that was with Anonymous but is a turncoat. He's known as the real Sabu on Twitter apparently, and he helped these international organizations catch anonymous hackers not only in Europe but also in the United States as well.
There's a perception within Anonymous that there's a very, very high rate of law enforcement infiltration. That is probably true. It is easy, if you are law enforcement, to join Anonymous and try to find out things.
They arrested me and put me out on bond. I was on bail, and I was in this surveillance bubble. They actually had FBI agents that would follow me every day, all around. I would come out of my apartment, and they would be across the street. They would wave to me. The federal agents would. And so, for my own security, I have altered my appearance, and I don't want the public or the police to know how I've altered my appearance. And as far as my voice goes, it's encrypted just for my own protection, so that the government can never actually prove that this was really me.
Some of these people have watched their friends get hurt, get arrested, get killed. They're getting a little bit more serious about protecting their identities. In the US and UK, have been very, very aggressive hunting through the network for the hacker anonymous, and they tend to really, really crack down on them. The internet, so there's a bit of an arms war going on there. There's been a lot of crackdowns on the tools that anons use in recent days. I think we'll probably see more of that. I think that they're also using Anonymous as an excuse to kind of crack down on the free internet. There was this statement from NSA saying that Anonymous may have the capacity to take down electrical grids within a couple of years.
Robert Miller is the director of the FBI, and he says, in the not too distant future, we anticipate that the cyber threat will pose the #1 threat to our country.
In my head, that sort of opens the door to them being treated as a terrorist through any kind of legal action, falling under the guidance of being able to arrest folks without charging them and hold charges secret and all the stuff that comes with prosecuting terrorists.
This is just another example of that. It's taking an unpopular group, or really what is a threat to, the entrenched power, and labeling them as a terrorist so that they can justify absurd sanctions and justify really the destruction of due process, the destruction of the rule of law in the name of the war on terror.
Greetings, NSA. We are Anonymous. Your statement regarding the potential future sabotage of power grids by Anonymous disgusts us to the core, as it is clearly an attempt at fear-mongering. The idea that Anonymous would shut down one of the most vital resources for it to operate is ludicrous. While security and intelligence organizations throughout the world attempt to depict Anonymous as a terrorist organization, many people understand that this same subset of Anonymous they speak of is actually a movement for freedom.
We have 3 basic principles that we follow. We never attack the media, and that's mainstream media, social media, independent media. We never attack the infrastructure of the civilization. We don't attack power stations, we don't attack dams, we don't attack hospitals. Our message is freedom and justice at all costs. That short of violence, anything short of violence. So I would say that our message is a non-violent struggle for freedom and justice. I guess that would sum it up. If you want to call me a terrorist, if the listeners or the viewers out there want to call me that, then fine, I have no problem with that. But I will tell you this, the people that are terrorized are the bad guys. The good people have nothing to fear from us.
I think they have the skills to get nasty if they want to, but they've never had the motivation in the past. I mean, these guys really haven't been terribly bad guys. They've had the opportunity to do a lot of bad stuff, but they haven't really pulled the trigger.
Thousands of people rely on electricity for everything they do. Hospitals even need this electricity to save lives, and taking out the power grid would cause harm to the very people we wish to protect. There is no valid reason for us to shut down the power grid, as far as we are aware. Any such predictions by the various government, security, and intelligence organizations are likely attempts to instill fear into those that don't understand this, and to discredit Anonymous as a whole. We are Anonymous. We are Legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. For once, don't expect us.
The Interpol website has reportedly become the latest target of the so-called hacktivist Anonymous group, which advocates internet freedom. The attack came as Interpol announced it arrested 25 suspected hackers from the movement in Europe and South America.
You'll see more arrests. You'll see more tragedies out of this too. I don't think that's actually going to kill Anonymous.